All right, welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 38. That's the first of 2022. And welcome, happy new year to everyone. And let me jump to you. As this is the first one, any interesting projects that you're planning for this new year, this new cycle, new year? What are you up to? Who else is here today? I see a few new names. So welcome everyone, if you're joining for the first time.
Yes, thank you. This is John Gurney from WSP in New York, and I got an invite this week, and I was very excited to see what the coffee breaks were like.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, so the idea is to have a very open space for projects that we are working with. We share what we are up to, and I usually start with as I said, some time for you to share what you're doing. And yeah, welcome, John. Thank you for joining. Who invited you, by the way?
Great question. I'm not sure.
No, I was just curious. It's sort of fun.
Yes, and I'm on the business side. I'm not a programmer, but I do have a programmer working with me, Ricky Chen, who's also on the call. And we are trying to implement some things here in New York. This is their first try at Forge. Okay. Ricky is just graduated as a full stack programmer, so I'm very excited to have him on board. He's been on board for about six months, and it's just been really awesome. We've been using BIM 360 for quite some time now, and I think this is an opportunity for us to kind of kick it up to the next level.
Yeah, what kind of projects are you trying to implement?
Well, we're working with electrical engineers, and we're trying to look at models to do some code compliance on receptacle outlets. So, and I can let Ricky talk a little bit more about what's happening on the back end, but we need to be able to look at Forge models, see receptacles in rooms, and be able to check them against the layout in the room versus NEC code compliance. So he's he's dived into the NEC code a little bit to figure out how these things are supposed to lay out, and has started to kind of pick apart the models inside of Forge. So I don't know, Ricky, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think that you gave a really good overview of what we're doing here, and I think it was a really interesting way to integrate the Forge viewer with the geometry within the Revit files themselves. That was an interesting challenge. Yeah, in coordinating the different coordinate spaces of Revit's internal coordinate space and translating them to Forge. It's an interesting challenge. And
so when you say Revit, when you say Forge models, what do you mean? Revit models, BIM models?
Yes, we're mainly focusing on Revit models.
Okay, and you said that you have to check lightning. Sorry, what was the term that you used? The lightning fixture, right? If that matches the standard.
Right. So there's electrical outlets that are all around, laid out around the rooms, and we need to check that their spacing for them is correct. So he's doing some measurement. He has to pull out the room coordinates, pull out the receptacles that are around the perimeter of the room, and then check the distances between them to see that they are fit within code.
Okay, cool, interesting. Nice one. We've seen this kind of project before where people use Forge or use. There are different ways, right? You can use the viewer, which is a 3D model, the 3D model representation to do some analysis. But you can also spin up a Revit instance on the cloud to open the Revit model and do some of that for you. So I was curious if you are using the first approach, just the viewer, or using the second approach, which is running Revit on the cloud to extract the data for you?
Yeah, we're using the second approach. So we're mainly using that to extract, but since it's linked and everything, we want to extract data from both link models and also geometry from the Revit file itself. And the geometry is being translated to visuals on the Forge viewers to help engineers visualize the exact distances between our targets, family instances.
So I'm just opening this sample that we have available in case, I'm not sure how far you are, but this is an interesting sample showing something like that, right? That once the model is uploaded to BIM 360, it triggers a Revit instance to open that model. And this one is checking if columns and walls are overlapping. And if they are, it creates an issue in BIM 360 that is assigned to the person that created the model, that uploaded the model. So that person now has an open issue that they have to fix on the next version of the Revit model.
I think this is a great project to look at, since we were also looking into implementing issue generation with our code compliance. So it's a great project.
Let me share on the chat window. And if you're working on this, we do have a hackathon coming. So we call it accelerator, and it happens usually once a month. The next one is now in late January, on the week of 24, and it's about having real-time support during that week. So you can start working on your project, and if you have a question, just ask, and someone will be live with you during that week. And it's a very very fast support. Like I need help, someone will jump right in to help you. And yeah, the next one is January 4th. So if you're working on a POC or prototype for your application, that's the place to do it. It's the time to do it, and it's virtual and it's free.
Any time, I remember we used to have those live events. I think we went up to one in Boston. Any foresight that when that might happen again, when you're going back to live hackathon or to accelerators?
We are very much looking forward to it. So we did have that discussion right before Christmas, and at that point, we said, okay, let's revisit this by end of Q1 of the first quarter. I honestly don't know. Things are changing, always changes. So we have to wait until there is a confirmation or there is no clearance to have on-site events. We are very much looking forward to it, but we have to wait until for the government to allow us to do this kind of thing, or government or whatever local things, right? Local rules.
So we could apply for this accelerator with our current code compliance tool that we're trying to build. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, if you're using Forge, that's the only thing, right? It needs to be related to Forge because that's the expertise we have on the team to help you. And we also suggest that is something that you can do during that week, right? It's not like something that will take you a month, right? But something that is fits on that time frame. And we suggest you to apply and provide some details so you can review. From what you are saying, it's really possible. For instance, this sample will give you a jump start to get this. And we've seen, okay, that's for the January 24th. And what we have seen very often is that you join one and then keep working by yourself, and then join the next one to accelerate that again, right? So you can join multiple, but yeah, in either way, whatever works for you, whichever way works for you, yeah, definitely apply for it. We still have some space, and I believe we're closing the registration by late next week, so it's still in time.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Rick. All right, what else?
Hey, Augusto. It's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, so I had one question this week. We finally went over to SVF2, So we upgraded our Forge viewer and got to the latest release with some of the SVF2 fixes and like the production servers because we were still using the beta ones. And we recently got quite a massive model, and inside of the model, like the translation step of converting the model, we did see one of them eventually time out. And then like looking at the manifest of that model, I saw that the progress was reported at 50% complete. And when we tried this, this was like the second or third time that we tried translating it. At previous times, it got stuck at like 99% complete. So obviously this is one very specific case with a model, but I was curious, is that something we should just like take offline in one of those one-on-ones, or have you seen other issues or better like status handling around like very large SVF translations?
Yeah, so this is usually, sadly or unfortunately, this is usually case by case. So if you can start the support ticket with us, send in the URN of the model, we can look at the logs to identify what's going on. So we keep those logs for the last 30 days. So yeah, just send a message to forge.help@autodesk.com with the URN, describing the information you have, right? You say that it's installing at 50%, and we're going to investigate what's going on.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah, so it varies from things to things, right? So usual suspects are you may have too many 3D or 2D views on your model that you are selecting to translate. That can cause timeout somewhere. Let's say you have thousands of 2D views, and the timeout happens because when you start a translation, to prevent something running indefinitely, we have a timeout on our system, right? So let's say you have a very, very large model and that will take more than the maximum time. We're going to kill it regardless, right? So too many 2D views, too many 3D views. So you may want to select less. If you have a very, very large data set on your model, especially Revit models, you have too many parameters that you don't need. That may cause the translation to go on for a very long time again, and it just time out. That usually happens on the SVF translation phase, right? So remember, let's say you have a Revit model, you go from Revit to SVF, and then from SVF to SVF2. SVF2 is an optimization on top of SVF. So usually those things happen on the SVF step. Too many views, too many data. The SVF2 should run really quickly and is an optimization on the viewing piece. Usually there is way less time out on the second step, but you don't have visibility of which step it's timing out. So that's why I said, send us the URN to forge.help. We're going to investigate it.
Cool, yeah, thank you for that description.
Sure.
That's good to know. Awesome.
Okay, cool. And just out of curiosity, how big is the model in gigabytes or megabytes?
Let me check that real quick. This one is an NWD file, and then I can check the size. I haven't looked up that yet. I'll do that now.
So if it is an NWD, it's not related to too many views. NWD is just one view, right? It can be the number of properties you have on your on the elements, right? That can be causing it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now. Take me a second. I'm curious to see the size as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. There is no direct correlation between the original model size and the final translation size. It's really about the geometry. How complex is the geometry? And if you have like too many tiny pieces, that will cause the geometry to expand. And that's where SVF is really powerful, because it deduplicate the geometry. So it helps loading the model. All right, cool. Thank you, Kevin. Any other topics, projects that you are working with?
Hi, Augusta. Jared Tracy here. First time participant here. Just
Welcome.
joining to get a feel for what it's all about. And I suppose the format is a little bit different than what I had expected. I didn't realize it was kind of a two-way participation. I thought it was just you know, kind of a webinar type approach.
No. It's very much like going to the kitchen and having a coffee, right? To just talk to your colleagues and see what's going on. Coffee break.
Yeah, I suppose I'll introduce myself a little more then. So for a start, Jared Tracy's the name, as I said, anyway, from ProCAT. We're based in Ireland. Well, we're actually now part of the Symmetry Group as well. So we're working on a development project for the last 6 months or so. We did actually take part in one of the accelerator programs last year. So you know, that kind of got us off to a good start. The application we're working on is based around BIM 360. You know, it's a tool for contractors to create handover packages and backup data and so on. You know, a few other features on there. So we're getting close to doing our initial release, production release on that. Just working through some final niggles and issues and doing a bit of testing. So, you know, we've obviously had gone through the learning curve. We've made some mistakes. We've discovered things as we went along. And obviously we were hoping, you know, that a forum like this might be useful to keep us on track for future updates and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We have some in some of the sessions we have here. We share, you know, new samples and new updates. It turns out that this one has been the first coffee break of the year. There's not that much, right? But probably the next one we have more updates and more information from our side. So this time it's very unusual as well, just because no, it's really with you what you are doing. But yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So yeah, I suppose one of the issues that we ran into, you know, we encountered some limitations on the APIs, you know, that we hadn't expected. Like for example, with RFIs, I think we can't download attachments, you know, for RFIs and things like that. You know, so we were hoping to get some pointers or maybe keep abreast of any changes in the APIs, you know, that would allow us to circumvent those issues in the future.
Yeah, definitely. So what I would suggest to you, and you know, that I keep mentioning this one, this is schedule one-on-one time with someone from my team. The idea here is to discuss the overall project before you start, right? So let's say you talk about we're talking about RFIs and attachments, right? You can book one of those times and one time here and discuss what's your idea. I'm trying to get this information, move here and do this and that. And you know, we may say, okay, this is possible. This, you may have a problem here, or this is much easier like that. So it's a very flexible as well, and it's one-on-one, pretty much like a doctor appointment. You just book a time and we can discuss overall ideas with you. These sessions are very good for this kind. It's not good, and that's my opinion, it's not good when you want to debug code, for instance, right? Or check for status, as Kevin was mentioning, to review a URN and check our logs. We cannot do this live. It usually takes some time for us to do that as well. So if you have something that you believe could take more time, like code, etc., it's better to get a support ticket. But for reviewing architecture and discussing your ideas, this is the best place, right? It's very open when we just talk and can review your idea.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think it'll be a useful platform, all right, going forward. Looking forward to future sessions. And apologies for the background noise there as well. I've got some noisy dogs nearby. So.
Oh, we all had that, right? I did ask my wife to take my daughters out for a moment so I can have this meeting.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I checked that BIM model size. It is 2.1 gigabytes.
Okay. Yeah, 2.1 gig in Nevis is a big model, right? Because Nevis is already optimizing the geometry a lot. I would also risk to say that if you run SVF2 on a Nevis Works model, the optimization is not that big. It can have some of the optimization, but it's not as big as Revit models, because Navis is already optimizing a lot. So you still have some gain, but it's not as big as like coming from Revit.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll discuss internally some options, and then I'll file that support ticket.
Sure, cool. Thank you, Kevin. All right, any other projects, ideas?
I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Cassandra. I'm with Team D3 and MG, and I'm actually on the client success team or in the reseller channel. But we do a lot of Forge projects, and I'm currently just writing articles and things on them and creating video content to educate people about the Forge platform. So today I wanted to jump in and really see like to what capacity other firms are using Forge, and if it's more viewer-centric or data-centric types of projects. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting discussion, Cassandra. When it comes to enterprise data, it's really about what you want to do, right? The enterprise,
Yeah.
you want to move data from here to all the steps you have, right? Data is definitely the big thing to do, the big goal we all have. Forge helps you on that. Data is coming from different locations, and design data coming from Autodesk or coming from Autodesk through Forge is one piece of that big puzzle. I think maybe not answering your question, but bringing some ideas to your question. It's very typical to have data as the big goal, and then Forge as part of the tool set to do it, right? Forge and Autodesk and other things you have like ERP, other things. And inside Forge, there is the viewer to view that data and help you understand what you have. There is the model derivative with all the metadata. We've been talking about Forge data, which is umbrella for the effort we're doing around making that data more accessible. And we are hoping to share more about what we're doing very soon. And that's the big thing, the big data idea, right? How can you manage all of that data? But when it comes to Forge as the API and the tool set, viewer is definitely something that a lot of companies are using, because that's one of the tools you have inside that big idea.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yes, we are as well. Yeah, we are planning to do something that we call this tour with all the new APIs. We did that at AU last October, and we're planning something for this first half of the year as well, to show you what we're doing and where we are heading.
Sounds awesome.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, that was a very interesting session. Thank you everyone for introducing themselves, and it's good for me to learn about what you're doing and about yourself as well. Maybe it's time, and we can talk again on the next one. Let me share again. So the next coffee break, again, using the same link, you can join in 2 weeks. On the next one, as we are warming up for the new year, I'll probably have more updates from our side. And again, looking forward to updates from your side, discussing ideas. And thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the projects you're working with.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Augusto.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.